Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to BipolarLines, the podcast where two spouses talk about navigating a relationship with someone that has bipolar disorder. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Laura, and today we are capping off 2024, talking about our great moments with our spouses, and just also an appreciation podcast on why we love them and why we are always showing up for them.
Absolutely. And just giving you more insight into behind the scenes of our relationships. So I think it's going to be fun.
It is kind of a behind the scenes. I like that too. Yeah.
So we're starting off 2025 with this fun, loving, lighthearted episode, which I think is a great way to start the year.
Me too, because like I was telling you before, just by the nature of our topic, which is bipolar disorder, we are talking a lot about just difficult situations, negative connotations, and it's the nature of our content. That's why we're here. We want to help you. Normally people find us when they're in crisis. Yep. That's when you look for, you look for content like this, that there's not a lot of positive content, but there's so much positive content to be had that we're just not talking about.
Yeah. That's very true. And, I think it's human nature to focus on the bad when there's not a repair to be made that feels good, right? So if you're constantly in that vicious cycle of, trauma because of episodes, then you don't have those moments of repair. So in the spouse's mind or the partner's mind, whatever the dynamic is with your person, like it is just so overwhelmingly negative for most people most of the time. And it is hard at times to stop and be like, okay, but this isn't the entire picture, right? This isn't the whole picture. So great points. I think this is going to be a fun conversation. How do you want to start?
Well, it already was, because before we started, I wanted to get an outline from you just of things that you love about Jeremy. And, Brooke and I know each other, but it's a process of getting to know each other. We know each other through social media. We know each other through our content. We know each other through the podcast that we do and some of the texting that we do. But truly, we don't. I mean, you're Tennessee, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm Colorado. We've never met in person.
Never met in person.
We share a similarity that our husbands have bipolar 1 disorder. But other than that, I mean, we finally follow each other on our personal Facebooks. Yeah. So now we get to see that.
Yes.
But really, I mean, we're getting to know each other too. So it was fun to hear you talk about Jeremy in a way that, a lot of people, including myself, haven't heard. And I think I was surprised, and it was fun to see that there are a lot of similarities. So I'm excited. I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me that you were talking about is that we're talking about personality types, and I would say that people would venture to believe that you and I are extroverts because we're the face on TikTok. We're the ones doing the podcast.
Yep.
But this is not true. And you and I share the fact that you asked me if I'd done a personality test, and I have, and I'm an INFJ, and you are what did you say?
ISTJ.
And so like
Introverts,
that I
people.
at the beginning is introvert. So I think it might surprise people to know that you and I are introverts, and that we both would peg our husbands as
extroverts. Exactly. Yes. Interesting.
It's so true. So tell me about Jeremy, the extrovert.
Oh man. So if you have done the Myers-Briggs personality test, I'll tell you, he is an ENFP. So completely opposite from me. He is what's called the entrepreneur, where I am the logistician. Here we are. Anyway, he's always been, and we're talking stable. This is who we fell in love with. He has always been just the life of the party, super social, so like funny. If there's an awkward silence in the room, he's going to be the one to break it in the best kind of way, kind of guy. He's super spontaneous. He is so smart. It's unreal how smart this man is. So he challenges me in that way too. But yeah, like when the relationship is dry, he's like, we're going on a date. We're going to have date night. Or, he keeps me. No, he doesn't keep me. He pushes me to come out of my shell, where I am comfortable being at home, reading a book, watching a movie, or binge watching TV shows, because also ADHD brain. I can't like wait 24 hours until the next show comes out. So I need it now. I need that dopamine now. Anyway, I'm comfortable in that space where he would rather, let's go out, let's go play pool, or let's go throw axes, or he's always up to speed on things we could do around where we live. Yeah, he keeps me on my toes for sure. What about
Yeah, and I
you?
would say it's so similar with me. I mean, Cody is always down for anything. It's very true. If there's an awkward silence or joke, like Cody's gonna fill it. I was telling you earlier too that like I don't find comedians to be overtly like funny. I find them to be amusing. Like I can definitely watch this comedy special and be highly amused and entertained. The person who makes me laugh out loud is 100% Cody. Like
Yeah,
I laugh till there are tears in my eyes. He's so funny, and it's like an unintentional funny. It's like
yeah.
it's just who he is. It's so funny, like what he says, like it's hilarious. And
And there's no way to really capture that, I don't think, because
no.
Jeremy's the same way. Like he said the other night, he said, when I say these outlandish things, it's meant to make you laugh. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know. Um, but I'm like, I don't know how your brain gets you there to this outlandish shit that you say. How do you come up with that? And it's hysterical. I don't know how else. It's not dry humor.
No,
No.
no.
I
Yeah,
don't
like
know how to describe it.
it's very, I don't know how to describe it either. I don't know if Cody intentionally tries to be funny or not. We've never had that conversation, but um he is just so funny. I think that he just likes to laugh, you know? So
Yeah,
he likes to like joke around. Like he will
sure.
say all the time that bipolar is so hard that like when he's going to be happy and when he's going to have fun, he's going to take it to 20 times what it can be because he just wants to live in that happy spot, in that
Hmm.
stable spot. So I don't know, but they definitely share that in common. I definitely always say that like Cody is the biggest person in the room, like figuratively, but also like literally, but also figuratively. Like he is the largest presence in the room when he's well. So again,
Hmm.
we're talking about like a well state.
Yeah,
We're not talking about, you know, them being in some sort of episode. Certainly mania will put you as the largest person in the room,
yeah,
but I'm not
for sure.
talking about that. I'm talking
We're
even
talking when
stable.
they're stable. We're talking
Yeah,
about the
yeah,
people we fell in love with, who they are,
yeah,
and how and why we show up for them and why we love them. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Jeremy can be the biggest person in the room if
Okay.
he's comfortable and confident.
Okay.
He used to very much always be the biggest person in
Huh.
the room, but over time, that has changed significantly, and I think to the betterment of him. So that's
Yes.
something that drew me to him. Like I said, when we were first dating, I wasn't. Let me put it this way: I was never exhausted by his being. The way he is would be exhausting for me. Like I
Mhm.
could never show up in my life the way he shows up in his, right? But
Mhm.
I don't find him exhausting, which is just a weird mind trick because again, I could never do what he does. I could never take on the social life that he has had, or the need or want to keep spontaneity and go trips and do this and that. I don't like I'm gonna start spazzing out because that's not me. So it's a really good combination for us. It works for us. I don't think it works for everybody, but it definitely works for me.
Yeah, like I would say that you know, Cody, even when I met him, like he loved wearing this sounds dumb, but he loved wearing colors like yellow, red,
Oh my
orange, like
gosh.
I would never wear colors like that because colors like that draw attention to you, and I was not trying
Hello.
to draw. Yeah.
I'm wearing a black shirt for the people not on
I
YouTube.
could just think of like the most like I mean, I don't want to use the word flamboyant because he's not that, but I mean just you know, it's very like look at me. Like I mean, I can picture this dragon shirt he had that was like yellow, like lots of like large colors. I mean, or even St. Patrick's Day, he had this like neon green, neon yellow, like that he would just wear on St. Patrick's Day. And I loved it because I could be like, I could be I don't know, like, because I'm introverted, so I could be in the action and I could feel like I was in the action, but I could hide behind him, who was like the face of it, and he was
Right.
good with being the face of it. I still felt safe in my
Yeah.
little hermit
Love
introverted
it.
like personality because I could like be behind him. So
Yeah. You were a little behind the scenes and he was out in front. I love that.
yeah,
And that
yeah.
is hilarious that you said that, because Jeremy has what he calls his pink lemonade outfit that he wears for golf. Pink lemonade. So
Do tell. What is
yellow
this pink
polo,
lemon?
bright pink pants, pink lemonade. So
Okay,
same.
I have not seen a picture of this.
I'll have to find
So
it.
we are gonna have to
It's
find
got
a
to be there somewhere. It's got to be there somewhere. If any of you all scour my Facebook page, you'll find it. It's got to be there somewhere. But literally, he would say, "No, I'm going to wear my pink lemonade outfit today," and I'm like, "Okay."
You know what
You
that
would
reminds
never
me of?
catch me. You would never catch me wearing that.
So he grew up Mormon and I grew up Catholic, and there's just a lot of religious shit, trauma that goes along with that.
Yeah.
And I was pretty sure I didn't want to be Catholic when I met him, but you're still like, I was still trapped in this, like, but what if I'm not? And then I'll go to hell. And what if I'm wrong? And like, it was like all this sort of thing. And like, I really felt like I knew who I was, but I also knew what I was supposed to be. Like, that's what
Mm-hmm.
I was taught. And like,
Mm-hmm.
reconciling those two things were very difficult. And when I met Cody, I mean, you could argue which religion is more, I don't know, like more harsh or whatever, but I mean, he definitely could not be Mormon just by the way, like who he was. Like we didn't know he had a mental illness at the time, but he obviously did, you know, like he just wasn't diagnosed, but like who he was not going to be able to fit into the box no matter how hard he tried. It was never going to happen.
Yeah.
And so when I
Yeah.
met him, he had completely broken free of that persona of like, well, that's my family. I'm never going to be that. This is who I am. And I just found it so refreshing that someone I think could be their, like I like to say, he was his authentic self. And so even if he offended me, he was authentic in the offense. Like I didn't have to like wonder where he was at, what he was thinking. Was he lying? Was he not? Where was I at with him? I always knew where I was at with him. And I liked that. I appreciated that. And
Yeah.
then in the process of like getting to know him and just, you know, I was gonna like, we moved in together and I was gonna lie to my parents and just be like, no, we would never live together because I
What
grew
are
up
you talking
Catholic.
about?
Like, what are you
Not
talking
me.
about? Yeah. And he was definitely like, you can lie. I cannot lie. All I can be is me. And so you can lie, but you're not going to ask me to lie. And so if it comes up, your parents will know if they ask me. And it was a fight. It was a fight. It was drama. I'm early 20s. I'd like to say I was mature about it, and I was not. And at the end of the day, it was so refreshing because like his unintentional boundary with that, his like authenticity, like his unapologetically authenticity, was that it forced me to do the same. I was either going to be authentic in what I believed or I wasn't. And I was, had I not met him, I would have lived a lie. I would have lied to them and pretended I was the good cat. I would have. But I wanted to be with him. And so it forced me to be authentic. And it was the best gift he ever gave me, truly.
I
Being
love
your
that.
authentic self unapologetically is the best gift you can give to anyone. I swear to you.
That's the hairs on my arms are standing up, Laura.
Yay! I'm glad you resonate because it's so true, Brooke. It's so true.
It is. I think I love that for you, for the record. That is fantastic. And you're right. I think that is a huge and the best gift that anybody can give you. Like you said, for many, many, many reasons. I'm reminded of the authentic person that Jeremy was when we first started dating, and how that was morphing over time while he was experiencing mental illness, right? And me being confused by this unknown. That is, I think, where I started to question certain things. My point is, when he would come back out of those episodes, like, I got the guy who knew what he wanted and who would love me the way that I needed to be loved, would hold me and tell me it was okay, reassure me. And he would do anything and everything for me. Right. So I'm pretty sure if I was like, I'm lying to my parents about blah, 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 he'd be like, okay, if that's what you want. But I didn't really have to worry about where I stood with him. But I also worried a lot about where I stood with him because of mental illness, right? Because of his ups and downs for so many years prior to diagnosis. We didn't have very long before we got married and before things kind of went off the rails, right? We met Thanksgiving night. Yes, Thanksgiving night. We saw each other for like this November, December, January. He broke up with me and he was like, I don't know if I can do this. And I'm like, whatever, I get it. But also, I'm broken. This is terrible, right? And then we were back together within a week, and then a week or two. And then we were married, not that year, but the following March. So we were literally together 12 months. And
Before
I
you
had a
got
kid
married?
before we got married. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I had a kid and I worked full time. He worked and he was a golf professional. So we didn't have a lot of time together to figure out much of anything, to be quite honest. But we were drawn to each other and
Yeah.
there was no breaking that pool, that energy is the best way I know how to describe it. But I will say, yeah, I agree that the person that I fell in love with showed up for me the same way, over and over again, which looking back, it's like, oh, dang, that's so easily lost in this conversation that we're having, in all of these conversations that we're having. It's so easy to lose sight of that because let's be real. Like we were talking about this before. My husband is super spontaneous. He likes to take trips. He wants to wine and dine me and woo me. Well, when he's manic, he wants to go to hotels. He wants to take trips, right? Like it's kind
Yeah,
of hard to
yeah.
break those two things apart.
Yeah.
Which just makes things a little more complicated. But point being, I love that you met someone who is his authentic self, and it brought positive, wholesome change to you and how you live your life. I love
Yeah,
that.
it really did because it felt yucky to lie to my mom. My mom is one of my best friends to this day, and I knew I
Sure.
was lying to her for the sake of being a good Catholic and pretending I was being a good Catholic. And I'm
Yeah.
a good person. There's a difference between being a good person and being a good whatever, fill in the blank religion. And then I accept him for being his authentic self, whatever self shows up.
Yeah.
His authentic self for the day might be depressed, it might be manic, it might be aloof, it might be antisocial, like I don't know what he's going through. But I just allow him to be his authentic self. And like it has not come without commentary from my family, like, oh, is Cody okay? And I'm like, so Cody has a severe mental illness. Let's just assume he's never okay. And then when he is okay, let's celebrate when you felt like he had a really good day. Because
celebrate the
they would
wins.
say that like constantly. Is Cody okay? Did I do? Let's just assume, and it's not an assumption. Let's just all operate under the understanding he has a severe mental illness. Okay, let's just go from there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I was telling my therapist this the other day too. Is that I don't feel like many, including his own family, by the way, see Cody's authentic self. So even though he inspired me to be authentic, I feel like the person who knows, like the people who know Cody the best are me and my kids. Like that's the guy that we see. And in other situations, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's masking. I don't know if he's I don't know what he's doing. A person on my TikTok said he might have a touch of the tism, which I thought was funny. Only because, like, yeah, I think he does have a touch of the tism. Not that you
Yeah,
can
we've talked about
diagnose
that before.
autism with a touch of the tism, but I was like, gosh, that describes him. Like, why is he so weird and awkward in some situations, and then the life of the party and can kill it in other situations? And ultimately, that's not his true self. His true self is this big, loving teddy bear that would do anything for his family. And the only other person who's truly got to see that is my niece, my eldest niece, who's my sister's oldest daughter. And it's because like she has come out and said to him multiple times she loves him unconditionally. Even when we've been going through stuff, she will text him. And
Love
so he
that.
feels unconditional love from her, and she is the one who gets the true Cody.
I love that.
Yeah, I know.
I love that. I think that's a really good point. Like, you and your kids and the niece would be the only ones that truly know Cody. And you all are his safe space, right?
Yeah, so he can show up as whoever he is and it's gonna be okay. Like, we're just gonna love him.
Did that take time?
Well, I mean, I guess with my kids, it's like a no, you know what I mean? Because it's just how we live our life. I feel like it didn't take time with Kayla until he realized that Kayla like, I don't know when it was. It might have even been just 2 years ago, but she made it clear that no matter what happened to me and him, she would still love him like she always had. And once he knew that, she was in.
All bets were
Like,
off.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. How about you? How about you guys? Do you feel like Jeremy has the same thing? Like, what is, I don't know. Do you have a
No.
similar experience or?
Yeah, I do. I do. Because I feel like for a while I wasn't even sure who his authentic self was. Again, just in this conversation, I'm able to, like, think back into those little moments where I'm like, yeah, that was him. That's the person I fell in love with. Because that's his diagnosis was 2019, or 2018, so it was recent enough, right? So when there wasn't, how do I say this? Up until 2023, after his attempt in 2023, call it July, I think, July-ish. From July 2023 till now, this has been probably the most stable he's ever been since I've known him. So I don't know that we had a lot of opportunity to see that in him, frankly, because there was.
So wait, when were you married?
We were married in 2009.
Okay. So was he just not presenting with any symptoms until 2020?
Oh no, he was. We just had no idea what it was, and he masked very well.
Okay.
And didn't go to the doctor, and I was young, dumb, had a kid, just trying to figure out life, right? And
Nah, you weren't dumb. You're naive. You don't
you were
know.
young, dumb, and naive. I mean, that's life. And then you grow up, right? But yeah, no, I mean, about a year after we were married is when things snapped. And it was from 2010 till the end of 2017 when I put my foot down and said, you get help or I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Because when was what you call the bipolar shitstorm?
The bipolar shitstorm was 2010 to 2017.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's interesting. So until 2010 to 2017 was more depressive episodes, would you say?
No, it was mania.
It was like was it a rapid cycle?
No, he was manic for long periods of time, and then he would fall into depression. Manic depression, while masking and being completely unaware of what was happening with him.
And he was keeping employment at this time, right?
Yes. Yep. It got progressively worse. His drinking got progressively worse, right? So things just escalated and snowballed.
Gotcha.
Until 2018 when he was diagnosed, and then that was a whole new wave of life, I'll call it. But yeah. So yeah, there was really not a lot of time where he was stable that I can pull from. That sounds awful, but that's the truth. Like,
no, it doesn't. I didn't know this about you.
Yeah, I can remember bits and pieces of when we were dating, and the good times is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
The great times, the great times. And like our anniversary, or I'm sorry, my dad had a retirement party. My ring ended up being thrown. There was a tantrum. It was a whole thing, right? And
I'm only laughing because we have our own ring we're in Colorado, being flung in the snow and having to rent a metal detector. And that's the only reason I'm laughing. But,
yeah, no, I get it. I think we talked about that on TikTok or something. Anyway, my point is like, there wasn't a lot of stable times now that I can dissect our past and realize, no, he was manic. Trying to remember those periods of stability from 10 years ago, from 12 years ago, 13 years, like that's more difficult. But I can give more recent examples of him being a fantastic husband in the more recent years, because I obviously know what those are.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is interesting. And it's also, I think, interesting that we've made it and that we are still together because of that lack of foundation, I'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of the lack of constant stability.
Yeah. I would say that like, I do tell people too that like, I don't, people are like, how do you do it? How did you guys make it? When I met Cody, I was actually engaged to be married when I met Cody.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. Have I not told you this? So,
no.
Yeah, I was supposed to be married in January of 2002. And then in 2001, I like, it became, in November of 2001, it became very apparent that the guy was good. I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know the term. He was a narcissist. I'd been with him for 3.5 years, and I just knew that he was a pathological liar. And so, like, we were supposed to get married. We were supposed to move in together. He jetted off to Oakland, California to a Raiders game. His house is being foreclosed. I went over there with my mom, and I find evidence of all the lies. Like, he was supposed to have a corporate job. There were unemployment papers. He had an Audi TT. There were repossession papers. He had that mortgage. There were foreclosure papers. And I was like, what is happening? Like, this guy's supposed to pay off our wedding. And so I'm very young. I just turned 21. And so I kind of float the idea to my mom, like, would it be weird if we postponed the shower? And my mom immediately was like, why? Like, she immediately knew. So anyways, like, I ended up taking a break from that dude, like, based on a friend. My friend was like, take 3 weeks away from him and reevaluate your life. And I'm like, cool. So that was good advice, actually. I took 3 weeks away from him, and in the meantime met Cody during that time. And I met him on AOL, which is super funny. And the only reason I was in an AOL chat room is because I had just turned 21 and I wanted to know of good nightclubs in Denver. So I went into AOL chat rooms and was like, hey, throw me some good nightclubs to go to on a Thursday in Denver.
And true 21-year-old right there.
21-year-old. Yep, just turned 21.
What are you I'm a millennial. What are you?
Well, I don't know what you call me because I was born in 1980. I identify as a millennial, but I feel like I'm on the cusp of whatever Gen X and millennial. I could go either way.
Okay, because I was going to say millennial. That's a true 21-year-old millennial right there, hooking up on the AOL, trying to find good nightclub places to go.
Yeah, but it wasn't to hook up. I wasn't looking for a boyfriend.
Right. Getting hooked up with the right nightclub places is what I
just wanted to know of a good nightclub in Denver. So I was about to sign off of AOL, and he sends me his picture. And he was like, well, I would love to meet you. And he's like, here's me. And it's this wholesome picture of him looking hot as hell, but he's with his whole family. You can tell he's from a really good family. Like, that has meaning to me. And I was like, oh shit. Like, well, maybe I do.
Maybe I don't want to go to the bar yet. Hold on. Wait a minute.
So I have this, like, it's so funny. Like, I'll have to show you someday, but the only picture I had on my computer at the time was me and my best friend. And I have this, like, total 90s washed out makeup. I'm like white faced with plum lipstick. I don't know, this brunette hair. It's very bad. It's not complimentary to me at all. And I sent it to him and he was like, sweet, I want to meet you. But I didn't meet him that night. But I did meet up with him after that. And when I met him, like, I remember him answering the door, and it was just like you said, like, it was like a bolt of lightning. I was like, oh shit.
I'm in trouble.
Like, I'm not supposed to like this guy. This guy is
Mm-mm.
Mormon. This guy doesn't have a car. This guy is like, he's got issues. Like, I can't like this guy. But I did. Like, it was just some undeniable, just like you said, just some undeniable connection that I knew. I feel like it was like, she didn't come out with that song at the time yet, but when she did, when Taylor Swift came out with that song, like, I knew you were trouble when you walked in, that was exactly what happened. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally, that's hilarious though, because you went from, or you were in, or almost getting married to someone that had a car, but it was getting repossessed, had a house, but it was about to be foreclosed on, supposed to be a corporate job, but unemployment, right? And this guy had a different set of oh shits, so to speak, right? And you were like, but I love him, right? Yeah. I love it. I love it.
But
that's
I think
just to say, don't
but
judge
I
the book
love
by its
him
cover.
feeling, just like you said, it's like that but I love him feeling has taken me through all the hard times. Like,
absolutely.
If I didn't have that feeling, if I didn't have that like butterfly feeling that he had always given me, I'm not quite sure we would have made it, Brooke. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. There's no way to know, but what we can know is that we stay because we love our people, and that connection runs deep. Like I think I've said this on the first episode that I ever posted for this podcast, was like, I've never felt or had a connection as deep, as strong, as fast, as intense as the one that I had with him. And here's a fun fact. I was I'm censoring my words here intentionally, so everybody who knows me that's listening, they're probably going to be laughing. But I was friends with benefits with his best friend before I met him. Yay, me. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. It's true.
Isn't it nice to be your authentic self, though, and not feel like you have to censor? Like, that's reality.
It's true. It's really true.
We don't need to be like hiding in shame or whatever.
No,
like,
and I don't feel shame about it, but I was like, my mom listens to this podcast. So my mom's like, oh no, every time that Brooke went out and I had to keep her baby, she was with that guy, you know, not my husband, but his best friend. Anyway, yeah. And when he found someone that he was his best friend, when he found someone that he was interested in having a relationship with, I was like, okay, see you later. I didn't want a relationship with him.
Yeah.
He was just somebody that we were able to go out and have fun with. Yeah. And then I met Jeremy he at a club, a bar, karaoke bar, right?
Do you karaoke?
No, he does.
He does?
Will. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. He sings incredibly well.
Really?
And he plays guitar, so he will serenade me often. He does. So, and he takes after my dad in that. That's what my dad does. You know, my dad's a musician, so there are some similarities there. But anyway, the first time I saw him, he was at the bar, and I was at the bar, but to hang out with his best friend, right? So, and we always laugh about this, but when I saw Jeremy for the first time, I was like, what a waste of a fabulously fine-looking man, because that guy is gay. His jeans were ironed, Laura. His jeans were ironed. I was like, he is definitely gay. And
well, he's willing to wear pink pants and a yellow shirt, so I mean.
So true. I mean, I was like, his hair is meticulous. Like, I know he spent more time getting ready than I did. He has to be gay. And then I heard him talk, and I was like, he's not gay. He is not. Holy crap. So, yeah. But he had a girlfriend then. And again, I was there to hang out with his friend. And I was not looking for a relationship I wasn't. I just wanted to have fun. I'd had a kid, and I was like, here we are. So when I met him, I guess it was the next year or maybe later that year. I don't remember, but probably the same year that I saw him at the bar in November. So Thanksgiving night, he walked into Bailey's. So I saw him for the first time at Bullfeathers. He walked into another bar called Bailey's. I was with one of my best friends from high school. She had come in town to hang out with me and meet Addie, my oldest daughter. Anyway, he walks in and I was like, this is not.
That's crazy.
I was like, what do I do with my words? Holy crap. But he was like, oh, hey, Brooke, how are you? And he was solo. He was there to play darts with, they had like a dart tournament or something. Okay, yes, that's him, Mr. Extrovert. He went alone to a bar to play in a dart tournament.
Things
I would never
do.
Not gonna happen.
What is that? He like currently just goes and plays poker. I'm like, and then he found like one of my, like, I'm a speech therapist and I have, kids as clients. One of my clients' dads plays poker, and he was like, hey, I met your client's dad. We're That's like funny. Besties now. I'm like, of course you did.
Of course you are. That's always my response too. Yeah, of course you are. But yeah, I saw him that Thanksgiving night, and yeah, the rest is history.
Aww.
It was just like, there was no turning back. And that was like, okay, so I do want a relationship with this guy. Nobody else, just this guy. And I can't remember, and my mom will have to comment in the Facebook group or wherever if she remembers too, but I know at some point, I think I messaged my mom or I told my mom, one of the two, that I was like, I'm going to marry this guy. That was it. There was no why. There was no, well, why do you think you will? Nope. It was just, I'm going to marry this guy. And I did.
Yeah.
And I did. Craziness.
Yeah. Cody likes to tell this story of, Cody, so I was on a rebound.
I love your giggles.
It's the same, like, oh my God, how do I even say this? I was on a rebound, clearly. Like, I'm just on a break from a fiance. And Cody was just this, like, he looked like a Playboy character. I mean, he was in his Playboy era. Let's just put it that way. Like, Same. He 100% was. And he had, like, I don't know if you're familiar with Sugar Ray with the brown hair and the bleached tips, but that's the look Cody was going for. And people thought he looked like Sugar Ray. And, like,
Love it.
He had lots of female entertainers, shall we say, which is not my style.
Right.
So anyways, I was like, well, this is cool. Like, this is exactly what I need. I'm on a rebound. I have this electric spark with this guy, and I'm going to deny the fact that I'm, like, totally in love with him, and he's just going to be a rebound.
Yeah, absolutely.
And 2 weeks into the relationship, we're at a nightclub, and I remember we're dancing, we're having fun, and then he looks at me, like, really serious, and he was like, Laura, and I'm like, what? And he's like, I love you. And I was like, oh, shit. The Playboy isn't supposed to be he loves me. He doesn't need to love me. He doesn't need to tell me that. He's getting everything he wants, right? Like, time out. This is the rebound. And so I was like, oh, that's nice. Let's go dance. And then I was confused, and I'm like, why is he telling me this? There's no reason for him to tell me this. Like, he has everything he wants. He can have any girl he wants. He was a Playboy before me. He can be a Playboy after me. Like, what am I gonna do? I have this, like, this ex-fiance right now. And yeah, like, there was this one point where Cody always brings this up, even to this day, where I was serious now, not clubbing and drinking. And I was like, why would you say that? Like, you could have any girl you want. Like, we're just having fun. Like, we haven't committed to each other. Like, this is just about having fun. And he was like, Laura, and he's like, don't you feel it? And he's like, don't you feel it? And I'm like, you've had tons of girlfriends. You've had all these girls before me. Like, do you tell all of them that? Like, I was very skeptical because I was with a narcissist. I was just coming out of, like, an ex-fiance narcissist. I'm like, you don't need to love bomb me. You don't need to say all these things, okay? Like, you have everything you want here. Like, there's no reason to tell me all these nice things. And he was like, no, like, I'm not like, so we laugh all the time that he had to pay for the sins of the past because I treated him like a narcissist because I just felt like he was probably love bombing, trying to get what he wanted. And
Trauma.
he's not a narcissist. Yeah. Like, and he's not a narcissist. And he actually felt that connection. And, yeah, he actually, he actually meant what he said, you know, when he said, like, I love you. But anyhow, it's crazy.
That.
This is kind of fun. I feel like our audience is getting to know us while we get to know each other.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I didn't know that about you. You didn't know that about me.
Nope, sure didn't.
Hopefully our audience thinks this is fun. If it's not, hey, we're just two girls having fun telling our story.
Catch us next episode. I have no idea what it's about, but we will get there. It's been a hell of a week, a hell of an ending to 2024. So we're starting with some fun for 2025.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. No, that is really funny. I think our situation may have been very similar to yours, aside from the whole being engaged part. I could have been engaged, but I said no to that, to the sperm donor.
But you still had a prior commitment that you said no to. Like, when you had a kid, that's hard to walk away from. Yeah.
I was like, no, thank you. No.
Yeah.
So, and he did meet Addie right away. I mean, I don't remember how long it was. I have just tried so hard to remember, but it wasn't immediately at all. Met him just in Thanksgiving. I think it was like, might have been the New Year. I think maybe it would have been closer to her birthday. And she was 3. But it was before her birthday.
He's all she's ever known, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. The first thing she said to Jeremy when they met, which is, it's funny, not funny, but she was taking a bath when he came over to the house, and I lost track of time, what have you, whatever. My goal was for her to be out of the bath, right, before he got there, but that didn't happen. The water wasn't running. I'm sure he thought she was out. He came upstairs and the door was open. Of course, she's 3. And he was like, hi. And she was like, hi. My daddy takes me to the park. Mind you, that had not happened in a long time, but that was the only memory she had with a male figure.
Right. Oh, right.
I have no idea why that's what came to mind for her, but it was like, what do you do? Like, I'm not going to be like, no, that's actually not true.
Right. You just kind of have to be like, hey, so
okay, are you okay? If you'll just go back downstairs, I'm going to get her out of the bath. Thank you. Sorry about that, But he was so good with her. They laughed. They had a good time. And I think he didn't try to like take on the dad role. He knew that the biological dad was not in the picture. So he didn't like try to assume that role immediately, which I fully appreciated. I think I was too.
It would be hard to navigate. There's no manual for how to do that.
No. There was no manual to being a mom, a young mom. So I was just, I was doing the best I could, right? But I feel like if he had tried to assume that role that quickly, I would have been like, you can leave now. Thank you. Have a good day. No, thank you. So,
yeah.
But anyway, we went to Disney World together. There's pictures of him holding her, like she's on his shoulders.
Oh.
I mean, he would just get down and do the Mickey Mouse hot dog dance. That was her thing. Little Einsteins.
Again, being the extrovert. Don't care what people think.
Absolutely. And I was just like, oh my God, what is happening? But yeah, he was amazing with her. And what sealed the deal, even though I was already a smitten kitten, we went to Disney. We were in the bathroom. We were at Epcot. I will never forget this. And if you've ever been to Disney World, those bathrooms that we went to, and this was many years ago. She's almost 20 now, so 17 years ago. The bathrooms are huge, probably 12, 15 stalls per building, right? And she was, going by herself. She's a big girl. Okay, so of course I peed it, whatever, got up, moved around, and we're in the bathroom. There's people, and she goes, "Hey, Mom," and I was like, "Oh Lord, what's this going to be about?" You know how kids will eventually be like, "I have to poop" or something, because I was like, what are we? What's happening?" And she was like, "I got it," and I was like, "You got what, babe?" And she goes, "I'm gonna call him Diddy," and I was like, "Huh?" And she goes, "Jeremy, I'm gonna call him Diddy. He's not my daddy, but he can be my Diddy until he can become my daddy." It's like she kind of knew the concept,
Oh.
and she wanted to give him a name that fit, but also recognized like the structure or the dynamic of a dad. And I was just like,
Wow.
you know,
Yeah. That would do you in as a mom.
oh my gosh, yeah. But then I was like, how do I don't even know what to say to him, because, we broke up. That was in May of that 2008. And we had separated in January because he wasn't sure if he could handle, the life of also having a kid. Was short-lived. But then, less than 5 months later, my kid's like, "I'm going to call him Diddy," which is close to daddy. And I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? How do I deal with this? It didn't matter. Addie took care of that for me. She ran right the hell out of that bathroom, went straight up to him, and, she's running up to him. And of course he picks her up, and she was like, "I got it," and said the same thing. She was like, "I'm going to call you Diddy." And he was like, "You are?" And she goes, "Because you're not my daddy, but you can be my Diddy until you're my daddy." And he was like,
Oh,
"I
so he
love
got it
that." Yeah,
immediately.
immediately. And there they go. I will never lose this picture of them walking off. Like, he sat her down, and they just walked off hand in hand, and I was following behind like,
Oh,
what the hell? But
oh,
also like, whoa. Like, it
yeah,
was just this whole moment. So for me, yes, we had this instant connection, this energy, this vibe, I don't know, it was the whole thing, the pull. But it was also me and my kid, and she
yeah.
bonded with him just as hard, right? And
Hmm.
she loves to draw. He can draw. I can't draw. Forget it. Don't even ask me to, unless it's a stick figure. So like, he was able to bring out a lot of her interests and likes in ways that I never could.
Aw.
So he let her flourish in ways that I couldn't. So yeah, it was, and all that's so quick, right? Like 12 months. We had 12 months of time really together before he proposed, and I was like, duh, yeah.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
yeah.
You were mentioning before too that you felt like he will support you no matter what.
Oh, I say that intentionally because there are times, well, let me back up and say, yes, absolutely. If I'm like, hey, I am going to start selling crack, which is candy, not actual DRUGS's. Anyway, I'm going to start selling crack candy to everybody that comes into Belk. He would be like, "Show me your business plan. I got you. We can work on it together. We will make this happen. You'll be a rock star." And I use that example intentionally because I'm like, tell me no.
Right.
Tell me no. And he won't. He absolutely will not. He will say yes to everything I ask for or tell him that I want to do. 1,000%.
I love that. And I think I just love that story because that's exactly how Cody is with me too. Yeah, there is not a no. It's like if I say I want to jump, he's like, "Let's go. How high?" Like, and he'll be like on board, helping me,
Yep.
researching, looking it up. And there's been so many examples in my own life of him doing that. But
And I'm not that way.
it's funny because like when I watch these you might not know this about me, but I watch like motivational speakers and like these motivational videos, and a lot of the speakers talk about how a lot of times and usually it's your inner circle who won't support you to take the leap. Because they're scared for you. Like, it's not because they don't love you, it's because they don't want you to take a risk that would end up in you failing. And so that's why your family tends to hold you back. But
Yeah.
That's never Cody. Cody is like,
Mm-mm.
take the risk and I'll be here at the bottom if you fall. We're gonna fall
Yeah,
together
yeah,
because I believe in you. And it's amazing to
yeah.
have
It
that
really
type of
is.
support in someone.
But here's the catch there. I'm saying, I know we're talking all, this is all the good stuff. We can't be that same person for them.
Yeah. Oh, no, God. For Manic? No.
And that blows. Oh,
It
that
does
blows so
blow.
hard.
Yes, yes.
Because they also know we can't be that person for them.
No, 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 no.
Yet
But
they
maybe that's
continue
why
to
it's
do
the yin
that.
and the yang. Maybe that's why
Could
it's the
be.
balance. Maybe that's why it's true for both of our relationships that we're the introverts, they're the extroverts, they're the, the dreamers, and the life is like there's no limit in life, and we're like, but there is.
Yeah, there's actually a lot. Let me add some realism to the conversation here. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know either.
There are
It's funny
times
that
where
we both have the same experience, though.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell me if I'm wrong, but there are times when I hear from him this new business idea, not manic, okay? This is entrepreneurial, stable Jeremy, where he's like, I'm going to do blah, 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 blah. I want to build a golf course. I want to build a pep course. I want to build this indoor athletic complex for kids, specifically girls, because they don't have them in our area. And eventually I'm like, how? And he's like, I don't know, figure it out. And I'm like, that doesn't work for me. Okay, that does not work for me. And he's like, just tell me it'll be okay. And I'm like, I can't do that. I'm really sorry. I can't do that. Is that your
Oh, man.
experience? Do you have to
But,
do that?
right.
Do you have to tell Cody, I'm so sorry?
So,
No.
I actually don't like but I think it's because Cody does have an entrepreneurial mind, but at the moment he's in a corporate job that's serving him. So I would say
Okay.
that before he was in a corporate job that wasn't serving him, that definitely is a lot of it's of course
Mm-hmm,
because it's not
mm-hmm,
serving
mm-hmm.
you, but at the
Yeah.
moment he's in something that's serving him. And I mean, they've been with him through 3 hospitalizations. They're still
Love
willing
that.
to take him back. They know he has bipolar, like so it's serving him. But
I
I
love
would
that.
say I would definitely be in your position if this current job wasn't serving him. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because even when Jeremy was working for CNS Y12 company here, it wasn't serving him. He was very, very, very unhappy. So there was
Yeah. Yeah.
always this need to feel more, do more. But also that's another component of ADHD, which he has and I have, is needing that dopamine hit and never really feeling like settled, like always
Mhm.
needing the next thing.
Oh, well, Cody
So
definitely has ADHD, but the dopamine doesn't no, like Cody gets his dopamine hits through betting people on sports games, like doing the fan duel or whatever you do on that, going to poker, like I just mentioned before.
love it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his sweets, he's diabetic now. Like, he definitely finds his dopamine hits, but
I gotcha.
it's not with the new business ventures at the moment. Knock on wood, like who knows?
I got you. I'm wood table. I'm knocking multiple times.
Yeah, we're definitely searching for dopamine hits, but it hasn't manifested that way in a while.
I
Yeah.
gotcha. Gotcha. That's funny. Oh, well, we clearly have very similar husbands. And
Yeah, it's so fun.
I think that because we're more introverted, we're drawn to that personality type because it's exciting, it's interesting. It's not the same thing every day. I think we would
Yeah.
get really bored with the
I
same
tell
thing every
Cody that
day.
all the time. I'm like, I don't know why you're interested in being married to me. Like, I am so boring. And he's
God,
like,
I'm
no, you're
boring.
not. Like, but I am. Like, if you compared us on paper, I am objectively the boring one. Like, objectively.
I am the book on the shelf that has 3 inches of dust.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So boring.
It's not a subjective discussion.
No, you win hands down. We just happened to be on social media to spread awareness because of how our
Right.
life has panned
Yeah.
out. And I think I said this too in the first episode that I posted. Like, I genuinely do not want to get up and do any sort of public speaking. I will probably shit my pants if I have to do that. Okay, I hate to use that analogy, but it is the truth. Like, the amount of nerves and anxiety and overwhelming, I'll pass out, maybe pee myself. I don't know. Okay, it's bad. I don't want to do it. I don't ever want to do it unless I am 100% confident in what I'm presenting.
Yeah.
Period.
Sure.
So if you meet me in the wild and I look like I would rather be eating rocks, it's just my affect. I don't not say hi. Because I will say hi to you and that will be okay. Just don't bring a bus of people to be like, oh my God. No, I'm just kidding. Like, that would happen. But it's just my face. It's just my affect. And I'm deaf in one ear. So if I don't hear you, I'm not being rude. I just couldn't hear you.
So if you meet me in the wild, it's different. My current job does have me do public speaking and things that I enjoy. But if you meet me in the wild and I'm looking genuinely happy and like I'm enjoying the experience, I'm probably not. I'm completely masking. And I do want to talk to you. I do genuinely want to like have those connections, but I'm probably not genuinely enjoying it as my face is portraying.
That's hilarious. Because I can't control. I loved COVID days because of the mask, Laura.
Right, got the mask.
All you could see was this.
Then you put on the sunglasses.
Yeah. And then it was game over.
No one knows what's going on under there.
Because I'm like, yeah. Sorry. For those people who can't or aren't watching us on YouTube, I have a very, I don't want to be here look on my face without the mask. So, and that's not because I'm mad or not having a good time. It's just my face, y'all. RBF is a thing, but also I'm doing a lot of thinking at the same time. And when I think, well, my face just looks angry, I guess. I don't know, but I love that you mask. You are showing the opposite. I don't hide it well. If I'm offended, if I don't want to be there, I'm like,
But you
can
know,
we
that's what I love about
please
people is
go?
when they can be authentic. I think because that's the opposite of me. So it's the same with Cody. I mean,
Yeah.
he does have the ability to mask, but not well. So like, you're either pretty aware how he's like, we're
Or
pretty
you're not.
aware how Cody's feeling. And so, but I like that because then I
Yeah.
always know where I stand, you know? So like, I'm good with it. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so true. I'm a terrible liar. I thought I was good at it. I'm not. And I know that. But also, yeah, my face gives away all the things. So, like in the car today, for example, we were taking one of Zoe's good friends on a shopping trip for Christmas. She doesn't get a lot, so we took her to pick out clothes and some things like that for
Aww.
Christmas. But in the car, I was in my feels about something that had happened prior in the day. And Jeremy was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "Nothing." And he was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Not right now, bro. Not right now." And he was like, "Well, oh, okay. I'm sorry. He was like, "I knew you were not okay. Why would you lie and tell me you were?" I was like, "Do I need to tell you who's in the car? Like, we can't have this conversation right now." And he was like, "Okay, sorry." I can't hide it. I don't hide it well. I should probably do better. I don't. I suck at it. That's okay. It is what it is, I guess.
Oh, but this was so fun, Brooke. Like,
Yes.
I feel like we could go on and on, but hopefully
really
people
could.
have more insight into us moving into 2025.
Yes.
I do.
One last thing. Favorite
Yes,
memory with
that
Cody
quote.
of 2024.
Oh, what did you ask me?
What is your favorite memory with Cody from 2024?
Oh, man. 2024 ended up being a really good year for us. We were episode free completely. And gosh, it'd be hard to pinpoint one, which is crazy because there's been so many, which is also crazy if you know my life. I'm like, I know there's gonna be a really good one. I think my favorite memory of Cody in general, whether it's of this year or any year, is an advice that's purely his own. I think I haven't Googled it, but I'm pretty sure it's only him that has said it, and it's we can't control the cards we are dealt in life, but it's our responsibility to play the hell out of the hand we got. And regardless of what year Cody has been in, I do see him show up and play the hell out of the hand that he's got. And in 2024, it was a hell of a good hand. And a
I
lot of
love
other years, it
that.
wasn't. But I see him show up and I see him play the hell out of it.
I love that. That's a good one.
So yeah, we had a lot of good ones in 2024. So I guess I'm going to throw it back in your court. What is your favorite memory of Jeremy in 2024?
Oh, man. Like you, there have been so many. We laugh nonstop. We do all the things, but I would have to say my favorite memory with him is tied to him wanting to go on a trip. And I've expressed to him the backstory here. When he says, I want to go on a trip with you, I'm triggered because that's mania coming out, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I have expressed numerous times, like, I need these to be planned. I know you want and love the spontaneity of these trips. I can't do it. Cannot do it.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, that has not set well with him. But in 2024, something shifted, changed, I felt, where he asked me in the moment, because that's how he is, hey, what if I pick you up after work and we go to Gallenberg for the weekend? And I'm like, panicking, right?
Having a panic attack.
Yeah. And I was like, I can't do this right now. I'm at work. I think he actually had some conversations with Ashley, a friend of mine. Point is, he came back and was like, babe, I'm so sorry. I know how this makes you feel. I should have taken that into consideration. We don't have to go anywhere. We can stay at home. I won't bring it up again. I'm very sorry. I know that, my actions, and what he's talking about is being in an episode, are the cause of why you are triggered when I do these things. And I want to take that away from you. So I'll do whatever it takes to get you back to feeling completely, at ease. If I'm like, let's take an us trip, because the last thing he wants is for an us trip to be affected, because that's all we have is us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't want that to flow over into our relationship. So that's a lot to say. Like,
that's huge.
He met me where I needed him to meet me.
Yay.
When it was about him.
Yeah.
Which is really hard to do.
Yeah, that's huge. I love that.
And I loved it
for you guys.
Yeah. It was a really big growth moment. So,
and a lot of it is one. Like, so much is communication. I mean, if your communication is suffering and your communication in general is important in any relationship, but if you really struggle with communication and your loved one has a mental illness, you're going to need to remedy that.
Yep.
There's going to have to be an outlet to communication. Mm-hmm. I mean, Cody, thankfully too, like, has always been just very, like, where I feel like a lot of women say their men hold in their feelings and they don't know what they're thinking. I'm always very clear what Cody's thinking. Like, he's always very willing to be like, here's where I'm coming from, whether it's going to be received well or not, but you need to know this is where I'm coming from. And I appreciate that big time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jeremy has gotten better at that over the years. But I do appreciate the same openness for sure.
Yeah.
And also, he's just a super thoughtful guy. I told you this before.
You had said that. Mm.
He, had surgery, and he was expressing to me that he just wanted to like cuddle. And he asked if we could switch sides of the bed last night to cuddle. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, sure. Why not? And then he told me, he was like, well, I want to make sure you know that, like, I'm asking to switch sides so that your arm isn't squished by you. It could be laying on him, right? So he's always thinking of like, how do I set this up for success? And I want to make sure she's comfortable and happy and confident. And not hurting or whatever,
Yeah.
he says, I'm a thoughtful but forgetful guy. And that is so freaking true. So true.
So he pegged himself.
Yeah, definitely did. And I'm like, sometimes same, I'm forgetful too. But anyway, this was fun. This was
Yeah,
great.
what's the quote that you had read before we recorded? I want to end with that.
So it says, when the clock strikes midnight on January 1st, 2025, I'll do my best to leave the hurt, mistakes, and the regrets behind. But I'll carry the lessons because some scars don't fade, they teach. I love
So
that.
powerful. Love it.
It really is. And it's so, so applicable here in our space, in our group.
So
if you can find that within you, dear listeners, to hold on to that quote, make it applicable in your life, you might find some more peace that you might not currently have.
Absolutely. Well, Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes. Happy New Year.
Yeah, thank you for being a part of our journey. We hope to be a part of your journey. You can find us wherever podcasts are found, Spotify, Apple. I know there's some others, but we're by BipolarLines.
We drop episodes every other week on Wednesdays.
If you're looking for more immediate support, Brooke and I will answer you specifically in our Facebook group, BipolarLines Pod. We're only 65 members right now, but this group is super active. Brooke and I were just talking about that. Like, people are posting daily. We're answering.
And we love it.
Yeah, I love it. And we're answering posts daily. I think what this group brings is that Brooke and I are going to put ourselves in your shoes, and we're going to tell you, if we were you, what we would do. That doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. We might have differing opinions on what we would do in a situation, and at least you'll get to know from two other people who have been in your situation what our plan of attack would be. So I think that's what we bring to that group, honestly.
Because it's not about right or wrong. This is what we've been through. This is what we've experienced. And I think that's why we're here, for creating this podcast. So yeah, you can always message us there, or you can find me on TikTok at break_the stigma.
Yep, and you can find me at the BP spouse on TikTok.
Yes. And if you're watching us, then you know we're on the YouTube. But if you're not watching us, we're also on the YouTube, right? It's just BipolarLines Pod. Just as a side note, with this whole TikTok potential ban, if that happens, like, all of our content, mine, is going to be moving to YouTube. I don't know if Laura, you have the same plan or not.
I do have an Instagram. I don't post on it as much, but it's the same, the BP spouse on Instagram.
Awesome. Happy New Year. Stay safe. And as always, thank you so much for being here, for showing up for your person, for showing up for yourself. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.